We opened the program. I'm one of the unrepentant optimists that believe that all of us here and all of you watching us will get to see 2022 in grand style. I'm not a man of God, but I have the spirit too, because the men of God are here to speak on this discussion segment of the program. So when I speak at times, I speak as if they are in me. All right. In general, Atahiru Ibrahim, and of course, incessant prison attack in 2021, banditry, kidnapping, security challenges, and of course, before the end of the year, we are still on it, the controversies surrounding the electoral bill that have been passed by the National Assembly. So as I said, I have two wonderful gentlemen in the studio with us this morning. Yes, they are clerics, they are men of God, but they are also public commentators. So it's not as if we are going to look at the Bible solely, but of course the Bible will also be coming in to guide us, and we shall end by the grace of God with the words of the Bible. So let me welcome first onto this program, Pastor Abraham Sheye Shenfuye, who is a set man at Treasure House of God. Good morning. You're welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Good to see you again.
You're welcome.
Like I see you only once in a year, but it doesn't matter. Even though we also see him regularly and we talk regularly, but for you to get to hold on him to come to this kind of program, you have to be on his neck, and you have to chat, call, and tell him the importance of the program. He's one of us. He's always with us. He's here again. Apostle Lawrence Achudume, lead pastor, Victory Life Bible Church. Apostle Lawrence, you're welcome to the program as well.
Thank you. Good morning, and good morning, viewers.
And of course, Charity is also here. But Charity, let me start with my two gentlemen before we come with your question. Okay. You heard my lead, and of course, you also know the focus. As I said, for you, let me start with Pastor Shenfuye. In summary, how will you describe 2021 to Nigerians as a Nigerian?
Thank you very much, Hakeem. And good morning, viewers. 2021 for Nigerians has been a terrible year. It's a year that they have never witnessed before. It's a year that a lot of people died of hunger than COVID-19. It's a year a lot of things happened. Terrible things happened to Nigerians. The clerics, they are in good position to assess things, because every Sunday we receive challenges of problems, people confronting people. In some cases, we have situations whereby only 5,000 naira will be enough to save people that actually died. And like I told you, a lot of people, the church, they gave out so much in 2021 to rescue people, especially from hunger. You can ask my friend here, how we receive telephone calls almost every day. We cannot count telephone calls just for people to feed. Now, even yesterday, I had to carry Gary to Ijebu. We had to bring Gary. We had the Ijebu. We had the people bring Gary to people. I have to carry Gary to Ijebu.
Where Gary originated from? You now have to carry Gary from somewhere. It's like taking Gary from Benin to Ijebu.
As I was going from Abeokuta to Ijebu, so I was buying the Gary on the route. Around Shuntu, I had to buy. So that immediately I got to Ijebu, I was distributing Gary. They said, yes. Because as I was coming, they were telling me that there's no food. No food. No food. It's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing. And the medical situation too is not improving. Many people are not having access to quality medical services. And so we have situation whereby a lot of people, it's a terrible year for Nigerians.
Pastor Lawrence Achudume, before we break it down, how you summarize it? 2021.
Well, I agree with my friend, Dr. Sinfui, but let me add a dimension to it. It depends on your perspective, how you see the year. To those who understood time and season and know how to take advantage of the seasons of life and to manage their time, to them, somebody can say it was a good year. To some others, for example, you mentioned about the 21-story building, which was a project by somebody during the same period of time. But it didn't end well. But that was the dream, that was the vision. In a time people tend to be crisis period, from 2019 to where we are. Then to some others who quickly surrenders to the factors of the season, of the time, the supposed depressive tendencies of the year, and then they gave up so quickly. They may say it was very bad year. To others to who probably put so much confidence on the political leaders, expecting crumbs to fall from the master's table, without understanding that the political leaders sometimes will have crumbs don't fall from their table. So to those ones too, it's a very bad year. So by and large, it depends on how you view it, how you maximize the time and the seasons we found ourselves. There are many factors that are beyond human control. So when such interplays comes, then it depends on man, therefore, to discover, to find out what to do to make the best of the season. But agreed, it was very bad year to many. It was very sad year. A lot of deaths, not just in Nigeria, but globally. That's why I say it depends on your perspective, how you view it, and then the kind of dream and passion you have, your strength for survival. So those factors play to determine how anybody can say this at the year ended. But by and large, to some people it is good, to some it is bad. It depends on how you maximize the opportunities that were available to you during that period. Many deaths agreed, hungers agreed, all that is said agreed. A lot of help has to be given here and there. But in the midst of it, there are people who are rejoicing. There are people who are rejoicing.
Okay, let me start from the rejoicing angle, Apostle.
Yes.
Now, we perceive everybody saying 2021 wasn't a really good year. Can we say 2021 was that bad?
2021?
2021, was it that bad?
Like I said, it depends on the
percentage of it, was it?
Well, it also boils down to the same thing. How did you, your value system, how do you, your strategies of survival? There have been crises all over the world from time. People have survived. I'm not saying the year was 100% good. Okay. There were a lot of disasters here and there, a lot of deaths. But I'm saying with inbuilt in man is the capacity to survive. We should have the right perspective. I'm not talking that challenges will always come to man. Man is born for challenges. So, and in our own climb, which, like my friends, in our own climb, its problem become compounded when you now consider the value system of our political leaders. Okay. It makes matters worse. So that's where the challenge now becomes a bit really tough. Okay. And then many people give up. And then in terms of health, the facilities probably are not there. So a lot of things went wrong here and there. But by and large, every year comes with its own challenges. 2022 is coming. How you prepare for 2022 determines how you will end it. Everybody has 24 hours and 365 or 366 days. So it depends on your preparation for it. How did you plan? You must plan with the mind that it may go this way, it may go this way, it may not go the way I plan it. If it doesn't, what are the options? then preparing your mind for it will help you to go through the years and come out on that end, either with a new song or with a tales of woes.
All right, Dr. Oshofuye, let's go into perspectives now. We're starting with our umbrella body for the nation, which is the federal government. How will you fare the federal government in 2021, looking at all the arms, the National Assembly, the Senate, the judicial, and every other arm that you think were so important for the federal government to function well?
Well, that has always been the situation. The three arms of government will always come together to make sure we have greatest good for the greatest number of people. That is the purpose of governance. Greatest good for the greatest number of people, especially in our own climate and environment here, where we have majority of our people yet to be fully developed mentally, faculty-wise. So a lot of them expect 90% of things coming to them from government, not from individuals, or we have or this private sector. Our economy is not private sector driven. It is still largely depends on government. And so a lot of people look onto government. Be that as it may, the major influence on people is that of the executive, because the executive actually executes the budget, drive the revenue, and bring out government expenditure, which is equal to public revenue. And to that extent, it was actually a woeful story. Number one, the federal government will not meet its revenue targets. Number two, will still go to borrow, and the burden of debts on the nation in terms of repayments is so big, it's so high. So if you begin to look at even the budget for 2022, you will still find the same tales of woe. This is a budget that has over 60% committed to recurrent. And we have over deficit of 6 billion. The deficit of 6 billion is around 3% of the GDP. It's 3.39% of the GDP. And that is slightly above the recommended limit of the Fiscal Responsibility Act. So we have a situation where if we take over 60% for non-debt recurrent expenditure, what is now left for capital expenditure? And the budget is so small. 16 point something trillion is so small. We are 200 million in this country, for crying out loud. Distribute 200 million. Distribute 16 point something trillion among 200 million people. You have access to 80,000 naira. That means if federal government will have to spend the year 2020, the 2022 you are talking about, you will give every individual 80,000 naira. What is 80,000 naira? So to have effective budget that will have impact upon people cannot be less than 160 trillion naira. And we have the potential to drive such revenue, if only we have the political will to do it. So that is the area we have to look about. Of course, with the judiciary, we have to do a lot about making sure that the commoners have access to justice, not technical laws. Not technical laws. They have access to justice. So the judiciary should be the hallmark, the endpoint of the sufferings of the common man. But I don't think that is happening in this country. Then the legislature, actually that aspect of the three tiers of government, I find it difficult to have serious assessment about that, because they're supposed to look into key areas to make laws, to make life more comfortable for Nigerians. That is my assessment.
And I'll still stay with you, Pastor Shefri. Especially, I know that you can talk about a lot about our economy, and of course, you agree with me that in the past few years, 2021, we don't know what 22 will bring. Just like he said, was the toughest year for common Nigerians, in terms of the naira and kobo, in terms of the purchase ability, in terms of whether what you earn as a trader or what you earn as a salary earner can actually get you the needed things. Prices skyrocketed, dollars and foreign exchange went up. It was very difficult, and of course to some, maybe a lot closer to God will say it is even miraculous the way we take care of our family, the way we go about our responsibilities. But is it globally, or are there things Nigerians are doing that we should have done better? What should we now, what lessons should we take from the economic policies of 2021 that will now make 2022 better for Nigerians?
Okay, good. You see, my friend was talking about, to some people, it's nice because of proper planning and some other things. I think Nigeria have lost the great opportunity available to Nigerians during the oil boom. Now, the economy of all nations have been driven by IT and technology. Let me give you an example. Now, the pharmaceutical industries are smiling home every day, all over the world. Government patronizing them. So if you are saying that the economy is bad, you don't talk about that for pharmaceutical companies. Why? Because of COVID vaccines. All other things are coming together to prevent COVID. So, very good. So even if you have oil today, you will carry your oil money to go and buy vaccines. So we should have developed those institutions required, that are necessary for us to be stable economically. Those times we were just doing, we were not having access to good leadership. There was a time in this country somebody was saying, well, I wouldn't want to repeat that, we have so much money that we don't even know what to do with it. I mean, I wouldn't understand that. You know, we have really engaged ourselves in ventures that were not economically viable. Let me tell you, in this country today, there's not supposed to be any new project for the next 3 or 4 years. All those abandoned projects, we should focus on them, complete them, and make sure we move forward. Why we do projects up to 30-40% executions, nothing will come out of it. To complete the projects, the amount is moving high, and apart from that, you're having the current expenditure of over 60%, part of which the personnel cost is over 40%, is over 40% of that. A situation whereby you use 6 naira to give 4 naira as benefit to Nigerians. There's no cost benefit. If you do cost benefit analysis, there's no benefit in such things. You use 6 naira to give somebody 4 naira. Do you understand it now? What is the benefit? So the same thing with these budgets. And it is the budget that is the global economic fulcrum to give comfort for all people, whether we pray or not. If we pray there is no good budget, even tithes and offering will come down, because it's a part of the budget.
How relevant are the various agencies we have? You've been there before. Or have things changed? At times when you hear the name of some agencies, you begin to wonder, what are these doing? I mean, what are these agencies actually doing to help the economy? How relevant are some of these agencies that we have?
The government do not have political will to do something about these agencies. The federal government has over 1,000 agencies, for crying out loud. What are we doing with that? In UK, in US, we have small departments, agri departments, economic departments. That's just small departments. And you replicate this federal, state, even local government level. I mean, you have a lot of wastages in running government. The amount we use in running government is damn too much. It's too much, for crying out loud. We should not spend more than 30%. Cut those agencies. Cut those agencies. They have a lot of duplications. Why EFCC, why ICPC? All of these people are supposed to be part of police before. I mean, if you can, government has gone small and much more effective.
Not in Nigeria.
Not in Nigeria. What regulates governance all over the world now is IT. Small human intervention 90% IT intervention. Why do you have to employ a great deal of labor to pursue revenue collection? Why? Why? When you can do your revenue collection without seeing any man doing everything on the platform. Why?
Apostle Achudebe, you, from what you have said, definitely it boils down to political will. You mentioned it earlier on. Are you hopeful that we'll have better political will from our politicians to actually do things the way science required it to be done for us to move forward, or they still continue to stay with it is politics? It is politics. Our people must, we must pay our people, we must do this. Which better way to pay people? And I also want you to consider, when people are talking about marginalization, and you now say, okay, we take a whole lot of oil out of this region. We now have NDDC, for example. You know the story of NDDC. You know the story of Off the Mic. And now there is a forensic audit going on where the president has said every kobo will be retrieved. So, looking at this yardstick, how you want to describe the political performance of our politicians in 2021 and what you want them to take to 2022 for betterment of this country?
Well, thank you. I must appreciate all that Pastor Sheye said as an accountant.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate those figures and statistics he was giving. You mentioned political will, like you said, and then greater good for greater number of people. Our challenge has to do with leadership failure. And that has to do with the value system of our political leaders. You can't have a will to pursue nothing when there is nothing in you. Imagine is one of the ministers is a humanitarian talking about feeding people in the schools. And at the point they say they want to pay 5,000 naira to 40 million Nigerians. With all due respect, Nigerians have left that level a long time ago. Nigerians need better leaders, great thinkers, who values their life. Until our political leaders place premium value on Nigerians, they will not do the right thing. It appears that our political leaders starve the people to control them. It's like they take things out of them and use that as a bait to control the people. And that is why there's so much dependence upon the government, those in authority. Either you call it the legislative, the executive, or the judiciary, they're all human beings, they're all Nigerians. Until they place maximum value on every Nigerian and to do the right thing that will better the lot of every Nigerian, the dreams and expectations of the people may not be. Our leaders need to really sit down. Are they really qualified to be there? For what purpose are they there? For their belly or for the maximum good of the greater people of Nigeria? Talking about passing of laws and legislation. Have you considered some of the laws or the bills they passed? What actually is the intent? What is the driving force? Is it the people or for themselves or their bellies? So until we come to that level where we love our neighbors as ourselves, what is good for me should be good for my neighbor. Should be good for that person there. Whether it's an Hausa, Fulani, like I said somewhere. I said we don't need a Yoruba president, we don't need an Igbo president, we don't need a Fulani president, we need a true Nigerian as a president. Detribalized. You're talking about marginalization. It depends on who is shouting. which also depends on who is eating and who is not eating. So when you are not eating, you are marginalized.
And you shout.
You shout. And when you are eating, it's okay. That is the way it is in Nigeria. You talked about NDDC.
Yeah.
Let's not go there because there are a lot of information.
I was going to say that that should be, how pained are you?
I'm really pained because I'm from part of that world and I travel to those areas. I see the people are suffering. And I see the same people who are from that area who took all the contracts, paid 100% full, and the jobs are not executed. So who is marginalizing who? So that's why I say it depends on who is eating and who is not eating. Because even among the Niger Delta people, who most of them are getting the contract, they get 100% full payment. They didn't do the job. And they see crime marginalization. So it depends on who is eating and who is not eating. But the basic line is we must give value to humanity. We must respect human life. I was thinking a few days ago, let's take example the North. Because there's also crime marginalization. When Jonathan was there, they were marginalized. Now, if Fulani man is there, we say we're marginalized. So that's always the challenge. Now look at it with all due respect. I don't understand much about that. Look at the system where some people are made beggars and to be given crumbs every day.
That system should be abolished.
And I don't want to get to religion, but we have same people of that same religion in the South. Why don't we have those same people here? Who come to you and line up every day and be giving crumbs. So in fact, the political leaders make the people what they want them to be and then control them. So until our political and social leaders have a proper understanding of what humanity is all about, we'll keep moving in the same circle of the oppressor and the oppressed. Because under democratic government, there should be more of open door system of governance. But look at our governors. Look at even your local government chairman. Look at members of the house, how big they make themselves. Look at your federal ministers. What for? These are temporal appointments. At best, 8 years are out of that place. Governors should be close to the people. Commissioners should be close to the people. Don't come to me during Christmas and give me crumbs, for God's sake. And donating Domia or whatever you are donating, and then go to a whole village and give them 10,000 naira to cheer, and they'll fight. And then you come back for election next year. That's why we must place value on lives. Let's build our health system. It takes a leader who understands that not everybody have the access to travel overseas for medical, to develop the health system, to construct roads, to let the railway function properly, to let our airport function properly for those that want to use them. You don't need a magic wand to do those things. You need intelligent people to be in government. Not those who want to, because oftentimes when you have people in the government, they say it's my turn to eat. And you keep eating until the thing come out of your nose. So they are even like people of Israel that ate until it came out from their nose, and they forget that you don't have control over death. So I think we need decent leaders. When I mean decent, I'm not talking about those that have PhD and those that went to school, because somebody can go to school and lack the common sense for leadership. We need genuine leaders in government, both at the local, at the legislative, everywhere. And that takes us back to how our leaders emerge. Sometimes the emergence of our leaders are faulty. You can't have you can't produce a leader through a faulty system and expect him to be righteous or to listen to the people. So it's a whole lot of things to be done, and I believe with the emergence of a new breed of Nigerians coming up, they will challenge the coming leaders. We are coming to that stage where you can't be a governor and just do whatever you want to do, or member of the House and legislature, do whatever you want to do. People will challenge you. We are coming to that stage where you have to be accountable to the Nigerian people about the budget you say you're going to implement, about the policies you are making. Nigerians will hold you accountable and responsible. We are coming to that level in this nation.
Okay, Dr. Shemfuye, let's review the security environment of Nigeria. Recently, during the year, there was a plane crash killing the former Chief of Army Staff because he was on duty. And there are insecurity challenges of kidnapping, banditry, of the students fighting, because we can categorize that under insecurity too.
A church founder was kidnapped in Abeokuta last night, in Okiata. Saw the report just now. There's a press release by the church community in Okiata that 4 members of the church were abducted by, they dressed, I don't know, they said Fulani people, but you know how people too dress like Fulani, because in the, we've seen people arrested, and you know they are actually from the
Fulani for
kidnapping.
So how will you review security challenges in Nigeria, and how can we do better in 2022?
Thank you very much. You are pronouncing 2022 as if it's a magic year. It's not a magic year.
You want to plan ahead.
You want to plan ahead. It's not a magic. It's not a year will solve all our problems. Let me tell you that the security situation is a cumulative effect of a lot of anomalies from the past. We should just find that, we should understand that a problem well defined is 50% solved. Well defined. Apostle was talking about a particular system that makes majority of male born in a particular environment to be beggars. Look, as long as that system persists, there will not be anything called security system. Let us look at it. Sometimes I'll go to that part of the country and I'll see young, vibrant, coming generations that are supposed to be in school carrying. Well, I don't understand. In actual fact, I don't see any system that I have not found that even the countries that are practicing 100% the other religion. Do you understand what I'm talking about? I've been to UAE, I've been to Mecca, I've been to some Pakistan. I've not seen vibrant kids carrying things, and we cannot do anything about it. It's mutating. It's a terrible situation. I don't know how that culture came into this country, honestly speaking. And the worst part of the situation is that if you go around Shapmo and our mega areas now, you begin to find some young boys doing that and call them, say, come, don't you have parents? I came from a very terrible poverty-stricken family, but my parents will not even allow us, if they give us money, we say return money. If they send you as a kid, they return, you say, go and buy me, you say, keep change. You say, go and return it. We have value system.
That's true.
That brought us to this place we find ourselves today. Poverty did not erode the value system of the Southwest. I must tell you, that is the poem for every Southwesterner to put in his brain at that time. So why should the system come up?
Almanjeri system.
Almanjeri system, bringing all kids, male,
and making them vulnerable.
For so they are easily available for Boko Haram, for banditry, and so when there's a Yoruba proverb say, if you allow a tree to become so big, after some time it will now be calling for sacrifice. That is the situation.
That's the Iroko tree.
That is the Iroko tree. If you allow it to, you have to. It is from the kid that you have to cultivate or dig a good culture whereby people will embrace education. Education gives liberation. The system must be such that makes education to be available. I'm not talking of religious something. Religion is a killer. As far as I'm concerned, religion is a killer. I'm a Christian. I talk of relationship with God. And there is no, if there is religion in Christianity that I hate, that makes you to sleep in church without thinking. I don't preach that. There's a religion, there's a relationship with God that makes you to have global outlook. Look at the principle of genetics. It was discovered by a Catholic priest. I'm talking of a relationship that develop your faculties, that make you to be functional, because the quality of a man's life is the quality of the mind. So that is, in fact, if you look at today's paper, the Minister for Information agreed that in respect of security, this government has failed.
Yeah.
And it is not a matter of this government. I told you, it's a cumulative effect of the anomalies of the past. If we don't address it fundamentally, the next government will be worse. During the time of Jonathan, we were saying the security system was bad. Look at this one. This one is worse. The next one will be worse if we don't address the fundamentals. And what are the fundamentals? Number one, education. Number two, to ensure that we channel the energy of the youth into correct channels to make sure that they do something that is fine. Look at the youth that are enlightened, that are let loose. They are doing a lot of terrible things on the internet. If we rechannel that energy, they will give us better apps to capture kidnappers and to do a lot of things. Kidnapping started, I think, at the oil well region, when they started kidnapping the whites, and then they found out it's lucrative. It is now a business all over the country. So these are the issues we must address from its fundamental stages. Not that we just come up and say 2022, no. Even the budget that I'm talking, I'll give you the analysis. When we have budget that's over 6 trillion deficit, 6 trillion deficit, and the repayments from the current revenue, if you add that one to it, then there is nothing left. People will just say budget. There's nothing left. For me, that budget will not carry Nigeria far. Under normal circumstances, it should not carry Nigeria more than March. Yes, that is the truth of the matter. That is the truth. If you compare the budget with the capacity required, we don't pay for anything in Nigeria. We don't pay tax. You don't pay for electricity. You don't pay for road. You don't pay for anything. Majority of those that are supposed to pay, they are not paying. So the revenues are not coming. But when you travel abroad, you begin to pay. From the time you make your rain in UK, you begin to pay. When you make your rain, you begin to pay. You will not get out of Maryland. And my friend will witness it. Without paying that, there are 6% on whatever you purchase in anymore.
Sacrosanct.
You have to, as immediately you spend the first $1, the cuts. If you do that, why can't we do it here? Even to bring our VAT to 7.5% was a war. Whereas if you go to South Africa, there are discriminatory VAT system whereby you pay above that for some items you have to purchase. You go there, you buy jewelries, you know what you pay as VAT. But why is it that we should stagnate the country to 5%, then 7.5% and all the rest? So these are the things. As long as government will not get revenue, even to wage war on this banditry, it will continue. We begin to negotiate with bandits.
I think if I may add here, Nigerians are disciplined people, very responsible people. Like my friend said, when you travel overseas, you pay those things. Nigerians are willing to pay, but they want to see what they're paying for. With all due respect, I pay tax. And probably because of my position and office I occupy. But the most people will question, what am I paying for? Where are the roads? Where is electricity? Where is water? It's often good to say
basic social infrastructure.
where is housing? It's often good to say they are building infrastructure. Give me a break. You don't build what infrastructure talking about? Is it industrial roads? Because what Nigerians really need, give us good roads, electricity, water, housing, and we'll build industries. Nigerians are intelligent all over the world. You talk about the 21 story, that's a Nigerian boy building that. All over the places you find those things everywhere. Go to Agbara. At a point, there were over 1,000 200 industries in that axis, from what axis down. You can't count 200. I'm not sure. What made them to move out? Electricity, roads.
Electricity, yeah.
Maybe water. You know the cost of running your house on diesel or petrol. So what any good government, and once these industries are dying the roads, then it becomes a case of survival of the fittest. There will be hunger, there will be poverty. And when there is hunger and poverty, every weapon of war is legal to a hungry man. Which is what brought us to the issue of banditry and kidnapping. You look at the political class. Some of these people who are involved in banditry are more qualified than your political leaders. Simply because you have a political godfather that pushed you somehow, it becomes something else. You are now a lord of the manor. Begin to oppress and intimidate with the things you are enjoying, which is our commonwealth. So what do? They took the laws into their hands. I'm not in support of it. But I'm talking about the value system of our leaders must change. We need people who understand the Nigerianness. Like what they call the American dream. We should have a Nigerian dream. Why are so many people running out of Nigeria? They are qualified. But where will they put their skills
To use.
It's not just getting salary. It's being fulfilled in your area of specialization. So to me, the government should make the atmosphere conducive for the people to operate. I'm not expecting the government to build us industries or hospitals. Give us the atmosphere to thrive. And you see Nigerians put their skills and talent on display. Yahoo stuff we seize, people are gainfully employed. So many of them get involved with this in an attempt to survive. You mentioned about the aircraft incident. There are many theories about that. I'm not a military person, I'm not a military expert. But one question I asked my friends who are in the military, how come you have more than 2 generals in an aircraft at the same time, or 3 generals? Because in that aircraft, it was not the chief of army staff that died. There were 4 other generals. Go and research it. If it is permissible in a civilized climate that 4 army generals will be in one car or one aircraft at the same time.
All right, Charity will still come with another question for Apostolores Achudume, and of course, as usual, Pastor Shafir can also chip in just as he chipped in now, because an interesting thing. There's a whole lot of things we're talking about, and of course, we've been looking at 2021 in retrospect. We have 2 wonderful men in the studio, and I'm sure you've been enjoying their analysis. I told you that it's beyond just being cleric. They are also Nigerians, of course, open-minded, and of course, they also follow what is happening in the country. We'll take this break. We'll be back.
Characterized with cold, dust, and heavy wind. This can result in dryness of the skin, cracked lip, eye, respiratory organ, and other related diseases, which can also lead to spontaneous nose bleeding in some people. During dry season, always dust your environment regularly and keep it clean. Avoid caffeine. Drink a lot of water to stay hydrated. It also helps moisturizes the body. Bathe with warm water to keep the body clean. Use moisturizing lotion or shea butter to avoid cracky skin. Apply lip balm or lip gloss to avoid cracky lip. Wear sunshade when walking under the sun to protect the eye. Take good care of your body during the dry season and stay healthy.
Chief. Good morning, sir. You are here already?
No, now my spirit day, my body day for house. What kind of question is that? Were you not the one that fixed this meeting for 8 a.m.? You are now coming by 10 a.m. and start asking me jab questions.
Not bad, Chief, now. I'm sorry. Don't you also go late for meetings sometimes? You know now, African time.
No more African time. And no more pancaking of face during office hours. At the end of the day, we will lose valuable time. We will not make progress. If we want to move this nation forward, we must treat business as business and respect time. Change begins with me.
Thank you, sir. I'm sorry. Can we go for the meeting now, Chief?
Better.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Yeah, we're still here, and of course, we're still looking at the topic, 2021 in retrospect. Charity?
Yeah.
Fire on.
Yes. Yes, we were talking about insecurity the other time, and from the insecurity issue, you mentioned education. So in 2021, do you think, though I know some students are doing well, some teachers are doing well, and the government is trying to do some things in the education sector, but in your own perspective, is education doing well in the country?
Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Sheffield.
Thank you. We need serious overhaul. Our educational system is no longer serving the purpose for which it should be for now. The education system all over the world has changed. The classroom system is almost obsolete. The read and return system, you know, the read and return. Read, learn everything by heart. During the examination, the write, pour it down. It is obsolete. What the Western world is doing now is to ensure that they take the education system out of school system and ensure that they discover talents necessary. Bill Gates is not a discovery of our educational system. It fell out of the educational system. And today is one of those that are controlling the economy of the world. So what they do now is to ensure that they discover talents. There are natural talents in Nigeria that are not subjected to this read and return system. You discover them, train them, and begin to use them, in every area of human endeavor. Develop their skill, develop their faculties, and release them into the system to do the magic. So if you still continue with this, I'm sure if Awo were to be alive, we will have reviewed a lot of things. You see, that is what I'm talking about. When people are talking, the other time when I was saying this, people are trying to force it. I'm not saying that it's not good. But for that particular time, what we are having now cannot face 21st century challenges. Cannot face it. That's why you find people getting out of university and want to become, if you go into the houses of, let me say, 70% of Southwesterners will have redundant university graduates, at least 2, in each families. You know, the system we have now is that before we are talking of educational system whereby you train your children, you now depend on your children. Now this is the children that are depending on their parents.
In that process, they go for their masters.
They go for their, and still remain redundant. I have one for masters already. In fact, going for PhD.
Because the curriculum is obsolete.
The curriculum is obsolete, is not practicable. It does not enhance and bring forth wealth. I've told you it's read and return system. We need something creative. And that's why sometimes the private institutions, the private universities are trying to be creative, entrepreneurship, and all the rest, and bring those things ahead, and bring those things that can make people to use their hands. And this has been envisaged by the forefathers of the Yoruba land. Ìwé kíkọ́, láìsí ọkọ́, àti àdá kò ì pé o. It is not complete. If you have an education system that cannot feed you, that cannot bring about technology that will drive your local systems, your little industry, SMEs, it is not. It is not. So that's why we have a situation where we have developed faculties now being diverted to crime. So we should overhaul the system. We should overhaul the system, look at the primary education, which is the skill. The founding fathers of Ubek and Subeb, they discovered some things, but not enough. We should still granulate and look at things, the other factors that we need to do to percolate down from our tertiary institution to primary institution and deliver functional education. The education that enslaved us, that were brought by the colonial master, those are the education to enslave us. It's not education to liberate us, and they love it. And the skills that were introduced later after their own, they are now successful in carrying away. Look at how doctors and nurses have been carried away because they are quality ones in the country. We carry them. So it's the educational system to benefit them, not to benefit us.
Okay, before we go to the spiritual realm, because I assure
Let me say
okay,
You see, I don't know whether to say the educational system is obsolete or need overhaul.
Okay.
Or you talk about the lecturers,
teachers.
the teachers. I'm happy about
Those lecturers are teachers. Fela said so.
Private schools intervention in the educational system. The Nigerian youth is very intelligent. Recently, about 800 doctors were told left Nigeria this year alone. A company was recruiting doctors for Saudi hospitals sometime in Abuja. In one day, 400 doctors came for interview. Where did they graduate from?
Yeah.
Now, why is it that the British government or Americans are interested in Nigerian doctors and nurses? One, we are very hardworking. We are very creative. The average Nigerian in the public school or university understands that I'm here to get a certificate, but to develop my mind to achieve my goal.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I think the instructors, the lecturers, need to be given more facilities to really do that which they're supposed to do within the system. They should be more empowered. They should make the environment conducive for them to work, to train this generation. It's not enough to build structures, massive auditorium, massive hospital, no equipment. If the leadership issue we're talking about and the value of our leaders is changed, it will affect every sector of the economy. Nigerians, I will always say that all over the world, they are some of the best human beings you can find anywhere on earth. Give a Nigerian assignment in America or Britain, you see effectiveness, you see efficiency. One, the facilities to work with are there. Yeah. Sometimes our teachers or instructors are very good, and they barely manage to do with facilities available to them to instruct this coming generation.
That's true.
They are shouting, they are crying. There's constant strike. It's only the private schools who don't have strike. And the private school now are going more entrepreneurial. Almost most of the private schools are giving attention to entrepreneurship.
That can stand alone.
That they can stand alone.
When they graduate.
And if you watch an average Nigerian graduate, before they finish university, they've started their businesses. So given the right atmosphere, Nigeria will be great. Like my friend said, you see, going to school is just to help you polish your potentials, your skills, which God has given to man. So giving the necessary facilities to function properly, like if you don't have the right tools to work as a broadcaster, you'll be frustrated.
Sure.
The same way some of those sectors, those teachers are frustrated. I think if given the necessary attention, let's start building, I think he said you should start building some projects in 3 years. Let's start building halls and furnish the ones already built. Stop building new hospital building. Let's equip them. Let's complete the roads. There are many, like if there are, to go to Ibadan could take you less than 25 minutes if the links roads are well maintained. To go to Lagos could be very easy. But what do we have? All over the nation. Some people slept in the Onitsha bridge between Asaba and Onitsha, something 2 kilometers. Why? Because of the roads. They slept there, they did Christmas on the road. So I think we need to give attention to a lot of, if we change our mindset on how, while we're in leadership, to do the right thing, the nation.
Okay, these two last questions, one for Pastor Shefri and one for Apostle, before we go to the spiritual realm, because we won't end this program without going spiritual. Pastor, the controversy surrounding VAT, why? What should have been done? Is it true that some people are, making the VAT money and some people are getting even more than what is made? Why should the system run like that? I'm not an economist. Please bear us out.
The controversy concerning VAT is essentially structural controversy. Structural. It's not about, it's about how we run this nation, the lopsided way we run this nation. What is VAT? VAT is consumption tax. VAT is what you consume in your area. Okay. If we run we run our system as a unitary political one, and we are speaking the mouth physical of federalism. So it's better if we want to practice fiscal federalism, let us practice it. If we want to practice unitary system, let us practice it. So the situation is, why do you get consumption tax in the whole of rivers, pack it to the central, now redistribute in such a way that it does not favor? It will naturally generate controversies. It will naturally generate controversies. So politically, we are running federal. Fiscally, we are running unitary. There are some things that are not right in that place. So let us sincerely look into those areas. Sincerely look into those areas. This is Ogun State. There are some things that you consume in Ogun State. You pay tax on those things. Then Ogun State now will feel that, okay, the whole money generated there is being parked somewhere, and now say, it's just like a case of an adult and a kid. Let me just give this analogy. Both of them went out to make business. So on making that business, the younger one made so much money. The elder made so small money. Now said, when they are now coming, said, no. Let us combine all this money. Let us add the money together, and now let us share according to our age. The younger one, we infiltrated. I mean, that is it's structural. Apart from the structure, the system is good for us to realize revenue and do what is right for your environment. That is why we have a lot of things. We need to be sincere in this country and do a lot of things and properly do things. When we properly do things, then we have other places where they do not have advantage of tax. There are other advantages. You just need to exploit and do it. Do you understand it now? And make laws that is the law that we should consider to be equitable
Nigerian law
for all and be fair. That is where the legislature comes in. Apart from that, the VAT system is good. It's cut across board. The more you consume, the more you pay, and the more you pay, the more the revenue for the state.
I think maybe we should get ethnic and tribal politics out of our minds in making laws. It will help the system.
Okay. Let me just quickly ask this. You talked about new generation of people coming up, challenging in the political world. But for you to get quality leaders, as you said, there must be quality process from INEC. Maybe the electoral, that's why we had the latest electoral bill. I mean, one was forced there by the attitude of Nigerians, and that is INEC said they are able to transmit, they will be able to transmit the results electronically, and of course it is there. How confident are you about that aiding us to produce quality leaders? I don't want you to talk about the direct or indirect primaries. We should leave that for the politicians, because people are saying, what's the motive of those who actually push for this bill? Some of them have been governors before, and they were produced not by these direct primaries.
They are senators.
And I mean, they are not senators, but we leave that. But how confident are you about INEC? Because 2022, we'll be talking about 2023 so fast. Apostle.
Well, talking about INEC, well, I think I'm confident that INEC can do a good election for Nigerians if they are given the liberty to do so without influence from any quarter. I think they can do a good job. We have credible Nigerians in INEC across the nation. I'm confident they will do a good job as long as they are given a free hand without influence from anybody, and if the INEC officials choose to remain unbiased, to remain as true Nigerians, without ethnic, tribal, or familiarity bias. Let's do something credible that the whole world will be proud of as Nigerians. Given that one, I believe they will do a good job. Electronic transmission, I have a little challenge because of internet problem in some local government and some areas of the state. You may have a challenge with that, but I'm sure they are looking into it to make sure they get the best service across the nation when it comes to that. But by and large, I think we have credible Nigerians in it to do a good election. Confident.
Okay, it's the last day of the year. I know that later tonight there will be crossover nights all over the worship places. This is our own crossover program, because after this program, the next one is Monday.
In 2022.
For 2022, this is the last one. So I will not allow you to go without you now coming back to the spiritual realm, using your spiritual mind to talk to Nigerians, the message for Nigerians as we go into 2022. Pastor Shefwe?
Thank you very much. I want to encourage Nigerians to get closer to God, to know God. Unfortunately, religions will not train human mind to know God. This is just to go on repeating the same thing all the time and getting the same results. When we speak about knowing God, is having relationship with God, then you can now talk of where the apostle now comes in, talk of planning and all the rest. You plan when you have privileged information concerning what you are planning about, the time you are planning about. The spirit of 2022 is quite different from the spirit of 2021. That's why we speak about anointing of yesterday is obsolete today. The anointing for 2021 is obsolete for you can't use it for 2022. That is why the shadow of anointing, which is provision of manna in the wilderness, is on daily basis, except during the 6th day that you cross over to the 7th day. So for 2022, It is not the way we have done things in 2021 that will work in 2022. It's actually getting hold of what is the spiritual ambience for 2022, the spiritual atmosphere for 2022. Like when I was trying to pray and I was asking God, how it's going to be? And the Lord directed me to Revelation chapter 5, where the scroll was on the right hand of God, and the scroll contained things that are supposed to happen. And the angel was asking, who is worthy enough to unveil the seal and to open this scroll so that we can read it and know what is going to happen next? Nobody. The scripture said, heaven, earth, and under the earth there was silence. Nobody was worthy enough to open it. So, and if you don't open, there is a book for 2022 in the hand of God. If you are unable to open it and peep into it and see into it, you will not have competitive advantage over your people.
Okay, thank you very much. We've been asked to round off, but Pastor, Apostle Achudume, your last
I quite
message.
agree with him. Let me just add that every year is meant for thinkers and planners. If you can think, and then thinking has to do with first take an appraisal of the year that is going, and then how do you do better in the coming year, and then trusting God for His grace and mercies, planning ahead. Love your neighbor as yourself. Don't wish anybody evil. Just be good, so I can have rest of mind, and then you find at the end of the year with celebration.
Thank you very much. That's how it's going to be on today's edition of the program, the last one for year 2021. And of course, with those messages of hope from our two wonderful guests here, Pastor Shaya Shefe, Setman, I like that, of the church. We thank you very much for coming to the program. And of course, Apostle Achudume, lead pastor. I have a set man, I have a lead pastor, and I'm going crossover into the new year.
Apostle is actually the global.
Because you see, he's the one that touched all other ministries. Global. Thank you very much all the same. Your analytical mind has been wonderful. It goes beyond just being on the pulpit, and of course, these are the kind of men we want to be having on the pulpit because you look at it wholesomely. Charity, Happy New Year in advance.
Happy New Year in advance, and Happy New Year to our gentlemen in the studio too. Thank you for coming.
Happy New Year.